So Sony's financials are out and their monthly active users went up and their console sales also went up. These numbers, they look decent for PlayStation, but I want this, in my opinion, to be more of a lesson for the Xbox fans that are worried about Xbox than anything else. I think you're going to see that hardware has its peak and at the same time, software is pretty much where it's at. So Microsoft taking the software approach to go ahead and provide its software to as many as possible, something that it does in all of its other businesses, like in Azure, like in Microsoft Word and Windows, being free with it, ensuring that, they can use the active user stance to pretty much farm more money is the way to go. Exclusivity is not a good way to make money because you're here in a service industry. You're here in a service business. It's the old school 2007 methodology that a lot of folk are advocating for. And this is pretty much losing them, PlayStation in this regard, a lot of money. Like you'll see the difference in the monthly active users. Some Warren cited here that Sony sold 3.8 million PS5 consoles in Q2, down 22% from 4.9 million year over year. Game sales are up 28%, and monthly active PlayStation Network users is now at 116 million, up from 107 million year over year. This is interesting because someone else had a 29% console sales, decrease as well, which was interesting. Sorry, this number is 22%. I think Microsoft had 29, Xbox had 29% decrease in console sales. So again, it just seems like the gaming scene in terms of console doesn't look like it's growing that much, or it's growing at a slower pace. But you also have people who can still leverage the PS4 and the Xbox One in different capacities. So not surprised that this is not really a thing at the moment. Now, if we delve in a little deeper, you'll see that the hardware sales and all of the above are actually, in a sense, representative of what they're doing in this particular regard. But one thing is very interesting. Someone said on this thread, immediately, Sony should put their games on Xbox and PC and focus on incomes from games, not hardware exclusivity. Very interesting. Now, their game sales were up 28%. So I'm surprised that, this person has very little faith in their ecosystem. But another person said, we're already seeing a greater shift to PC for the first party games. So there's definitely been a focus on changing their business model to accommodate a larger swath of gamers. As far as seeing them on Xbox console, I highly doubt that outside of maybe specific scenarios. Well, they are going to need those scenarios very soon because PlayStation is going to become a ground for Xbox games that Xbox feels it needs to send. Now, I have to say this. If Xbox feels the need to send those games to PlayStation, they'll go to PlayStation. If the games are expensive, like Blade, Indiana Jones, which are these Disney and Marvel titles, or Lucasfilms and Marvel titles that will have expenses from license fees and even expenses from copies sold, you're going to see them on other platforms if the estimates are not strong in terms of who's going to buy them. I think Blade right now, they're going to be looking and saying, okay, is the console or is the platform going to be able to move copies of Blade that's going to keep us in a cool spot? If the answer to that is yes, then they can maybe do a 1-year delay. But if it's not really looking good or looking strong, then it's a 3-month delay like Indiana Jones in that regard. Someone said currently they only put their games on PC, not Xbox. They should be more inclusive. Currently they are discriminatory. I guess maybe they feel comfortable in that regard. Someone says, why do they put their games on Xbox? They don't buy games. It would be a waste of a port. Someone said to increase income. This is stupid talk. You know what I mean? Like just recently, we just saw Death Stranding show up on, Xbox. So after 5 years, I'm sure the exclusivity ran out of 5 years afterwards. Why did they bother if Xbox players don't buy games? In fact, why does PlayStation money hack games from Xbox if Xbox players don't buy games? Is it because they want the Xbox players who don't buy games to, somehow come to PlayStation and buy games? It's just stupid talk, man. These people are some of the most unserious people that you can think of out there. This person says 116 million monthly active users is huge. Wonder how this compares to Xbox and Nintendo. In the case of Xbox, we know that Xbox is at 500 million active users. So here's the thing, though. Here's what's really interesting with monthly active users. The monthly active users category is one that is very tantamount in profitability. You can see even PlayStation chasing down this particular, metric in their games. Right now, any game that comes on PlayStation, you're going to see that game requires a PSN account, which is funny because it's straight away from something that it didn't used to do before. So now Spider-Man, if you think about the Spider-Man collection, this particular game, the first Spider-Man game, did not require you to have, a PSN account. However, even a game like Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, which is the, rehash of Horizon Zero Dawn, requires you to have a PSN account. And even though this is costing PlayStation sales in these titles, they are not really seemingly concerned about that at the moment. They want to get monthly active users because their competition is smoking them. But the competition has a different strat. Their competition's games are games that really do bring in significant amounts of money. Players spend their time playing these games. And so it's not just about MAUs, it's MAUs that are turning over profit. Xbox has about 120 million according to this breakdown. I don't know where they got this from. I think there's another picture here on this thing we're going to see here in a bit. Activision Blizzard had about 356 million because, Call of Duty and all that. King, 238 million, and Minecraft, 166 million. It's insane. If they just go Xbox and Minecraft alone, that still smokes PlayStation's own official numbers. Then to see Activision and all of the others, that's insane. And I told this to y'all. I said, Xbox's capability to bust out content is going to be unmatched by PlayStation. PlayStation is not going to be able to do it in any regard. So PlayStation is going to continue to play catch up with all of these as time goes on. I mean, if you come and look down and see, okay, what in the world I'm talking about, you'd have to look at, say, their organizational structure with a lot of their companies and their publishers and their games that are potentially going to be coming out. Compared to PlayStation, it is not even anything to write home about. I'm going to scroll down so I can find it for you guys right here. I bookmarked this. So look at all the content pumpability that is coming out here. This is going to keep this cycle going. And you're also probably going to be seeing a shift. That shift is going to be leveraging Game Pass, because a lot of these players that play these live service games, they play most of them even while on PlayStation. So eventually, as they're looking through value proposition, it's the shift that's going to eventually just still continue to make the MAUs for PlayStation a little, shaky. Now, I will say the 6 million that they had was actually pretty good, but we haven't necessarily seen what has gone on after Call of Duty launched on the Xbox and Game Pass at the same time, which is interesting. Now, this is just a placeholder for showing the data of people, weekly active users. But even the most recent data, which was October, I think, 26, that Matt Piscatella has put up, still shows Call of Duty at number 1 on both the PlayStation and the Xbox platform. So this is not far from what reality represents. In fact, this person breaks it down here, and I think this was probably put out here in this regard. So it's interesting to see how all of this is going with the, with the numbers and how the financials right now are reflecting what they are, targeting and what they're gunning for. Now, even their games going to Xbox is interesting because they have now 3 games that are going to other platforms that's not PC. Let me make that clear. They have Lego Horizon, Adventures, which is going to the Nintendo Switch day one. It's a break from what it is that they're doing. They're finding ways to make more money. Some people have said it's because Lego wanted it. I keep telling them that that's a load of crock of, horse manure because, this is PlayStation we're talking about. Market leader in air quotes, they're no longer market leader. They've pretty much been dominated and taken over according to their own documents and analysis. And so you see that the market so-called leader is following market forces. They're no longer driving the narrative anymore. They got to find a way to earn that cheddar, especially seeing how Activision alone is bringing in significant change, seeing how King has the capability to pretty much mask a lot of what the capability is. Now compare that to their losses that they've taken this year. It really does show that, man, there's work to be done in the PlayStation house as Xbox pretty much sits pretty and continues to provide value. Then you had MLB The Show. With MLB The Show, the question and the complaint, or I guess the concern was, oh, MLB wanted the game to the PlayStation, to the Xbox ecosystem, which is funny because, again, market leader is over here saying, oh, man, we would like for, I thought they set the tone. I thought they set the pace for the market, right? So when it all is said and done, you got to think about, that particular excuse as being kind of weak. Then, when you actually continue to think about it, you go ahead and say, okay, they're a game predator hunting grounds. That was actually, it was their publishing rights, was purchased by the developers. The developers said, hey, man, we would like to make money. Are you guys interested in us not going out of business? And I think they decided to sell that the publishing rights to that IP back to Ilphonic, who was the developer. This used to say PlayStation Publishing. And then now with Death Stranding, they've pretty much gone ahead to allow for Kojima to basically purchase the publishing rights. So Kojima Productions and now 505 Games is publishing that game on the Xbox platform. So even though they may present this hubris that they're not interested in getting games to Xbox, we know that the developers are needing the funding. This is the pressure that continues to pull PlayStation games into the Xbox ecosystem. Money, regardless of how they try to mask the publishing or how they try to mask the move, it's not saying anything different to anyone. Only the PlayStation fans who, fall for optics are the ones that are saying, well, it's no longer a PlayStation game. My dude, both MLB The Show and Death Stranding both say PlayStation Studios when you fire it up. It says the same thing on Xbox as well. It is a PlayStation game, So this is where, I think the rub is, and I think the conversation needs to, be taken into account. But either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.